All right. Welcome back, Space Lasers.
Hi, Ashley.
For
Hey.
our SpacePod on Colorblind.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into the song, as we always do. But I figured with Colorblind, I thought we could change it up a little bit and start talking about maybe some blind spots that you may have as friends.
Oh, it's
And by the way, for those who are not watching or who have just tuned in, these are like, you guys have the best male friend group I've ever seen. You guys love each other and
We're very
uplift
good
each other.
communicators.
It's amazing. So, but I just want to test it a little bit and see, how
This
well
might
you
get
actually know each other.
This podcast is going to end in fistfights.
Are you ready?
The band is over.
Were you doing like the
This
newlywed game with the dudes?
Exactly
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So it's going to be a little bit deeper than that, but I want whoever I call out, I want you to think about your answer, and then the others will respond with what they think. Okay, so that's how we're going to play it.
10-4.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All
Maybe.
right, let's go. No fighting allowed.
If the question is, have I seen Michael's dick? The answer is yes.
My father watches this podcast. Sorry, Papa.
Okay. No, all G-rated questions.
Oh, okay.
If Tom got invited to a party, what would he most likely do?
Go to said party or sleep.
He would just be there. What would he do at the party? Is the
Oh.
question.
He'd play someone's piano.
He
It's
would
very true.
have a great time and probably leave an hour earlier than everyone else.
You were out of the show last night at like 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
Home
I was
in
like,
bed by 9:45.
U2 song, cool. Saw it. Bye.
So very generic. It wouldn't be anything groundbreaking.
Yeah, I'm not like a
but-
party animal.
okay.
Yeah.
Did any of those ring truer than the other? Or
I would if there's a piano, yeah, I'm gonna play it.
That's gonna
Yeah.
get played.
If there's, I mean, I always chat people up. Sometimes I try to find an interesting person and
Yeah.
chat them up.
Are you
If
an
Tom
Irish
finds somebody-
goodbyer? Like, do you just leave?
No, I don't think so. I say bye to people.
That's me. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not Tom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you just
I always
exit?
usually get a hug when he leaves. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just ducks out.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just because all my friends in Virginia are highly functioning alcoholics, and they just won't let me leave a party. So I'm like, all right, I just have to leave. Yeah.
All right, next question.
Yeah.
If Michael put on a song on repeat, he could only have one, what song would that be?
All right, think of your answer, Michael.
Think of your answer. All right.
I'm trying to think where he's at right now because that answer would have changed. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that Corey Wong Meditations.
I'm gonna say, "What is hip?" Tower of Power.
Okay.
Both excellent guesses.
Yeah.
So Mediations, by the way,
Shit.
is my relaxing song.
Okay.
So I'll listen to that song almost before every show,
Okay.
just to like chill as I'm setting up. And then What is Hip? I mean, come on, guys, that's a dope jam.
Michael
so
and I
want to listen to a dope jam.
Literally we didn't have an
I'll
argument.
put on Tower of Power.
But I've put on Tower of Power, and Michael was like, "That's my song. Don't do that."
Oh, that's when we were making the playlist.
Yeah.
And Michael was like,
Yeah.
"Don't you fucking
You
dare
do not.
do Tower of Power."
It's like, for me, it's like Michael obviously loves Tower of Power, growing up with his dad playing in similar types of bands.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, oh man, Rocco Prestia, that bass line, Tower of Power all day
Yeah.
long.
Well, what is the answer?
Yeah,
if you
what's
were
your
to,
answer?
So again, it is very much like time and place. But I would say my go-to recently is Mediations. So
Okay.
Tommy wins.
Ding,
But,
ding,
I mean, I
ding.
gotta say that's a close and a very good guess from Andrew over here.
Yeah.
this is a fun
Aw,
game.
see how good they know each other? You
Yeah.
guys are so cute. All right. What reality show would Andrew most likely be on?
Is there a Newlyweds?
This is not fair because I don't know any reality shows.
Yeah, I'm
You know
like trying to
enough
think.
to get by.
Jerry Springer, does that count? But
All
yeah,
right.
like a Newlywed. Is there a Newlyweds one where they
I
follow
don't-
Mary recently?
I don't know.
Yeah, there was that. Like,
Because
Jessica
Andrew's
and
getting
Nick-
married.
Psh, don't let it out of the bag.
Dude,
Oh, can we edit that? Do we need to?
No,
I,
we don't need
I
to
will
edit
if
that.
you want
We
me
don't-
to, but yeah.
I already have one in mind. Okay, Mikey.
All right.
I genuinely. Okay, hold on. Did you go?
I made up a reality show about
That
Newlyweds,
is
and that was my
not cool.
answer.
be like Survivor. It could be.
No, I
The
mean,
Greatest
I know
Race.
that one.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a
okay,
fun one
that's
because
not
that's
good.
couples related, right? And he could like.
Okay, but I don't know that one either.
I don't know if they still do.
I want to say The Real World.
I mean,
I don't know because like you're so like you have so many intricate qualities that are like very likable.
thank
Like so
you.
when they would see your video, they'd be like, "Let's get this guy on here." And then you're also
Yeah.
kind of like a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah. So actually, the show that I would probably be on, I will give two options, and both have a theme. So either dating naked or naked and afraid.
What the fuck is dating naked? That is not a good way to start a
And
relationship.
that answers the question about have we seen Andrew's dick?
So I'm just very
We are
comfortable.
a G-rated podcast.
I'm very comfortable being naked, and I think either one of those would be fun. But obviously, the dating thing, I'm very happily in a relationship right now, so not going to be dating. But even my spouse right now, she is also like she found out about nudism from me like recently.
She'd never heard of this?
She'd never heard of there are people that like have nudist colonies and just live their lives naked. She was fascinated by it because she's an artist and she just loves nudity and like painting. And she was like, "Wow, just people just hang out." And especially, she's from Iran, and there are lots of rules around life, and the fact that this exists blew her mind. And she's like, "Oh, we got to go and visit this place." And I was like, "I don't know if they like tourists." But yeah, I mean, just maybe.
There is
yeah.
a nudist beach in San Francisco that you
Yeah.
can just go to if
Yeah.
you want.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
If we're not here, are you just naked all the time?
all the time. I mean,
Wait,
granted-
I
really?
will text you the next time I'm
So
on
like
my way
where
over.
we're,
Yeah, no
where we're
kidding.
sitting?
No, not on the couch. No.
Of course on the couch. She's got to sit on these.
No, actually, I never really hang out in this room, but I'm trying to change that. So yeah,
We'll be on the couch
Okay.
too in the future.
yeah.
Beware. Okay. If Tom could live in a different time period, what would it be?
When was jazz created?
No.
The 30s or 40s?
No, it would be probably early '60s. Yeah.
Interesting. It's because I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, it's because of that jam band you're so in love with.
Grateful Dead?
No.
He's the Grateful Dead.
No, is it Fish?
No.
I like Fish. I'm not like
No, what's
love
the-
No, I'm
but-
saying early '60s, like that era of
I don't
Miles
know that-
Davis,
I don't know
that
time.
era of
Oh,
modal
yeah.
jazz and
Oh,
everything.
okay.
That's a hot time for that.
Gotcha. So either way, I think we're both in agreement that he would be in a jazz
It's
band.
somehow jazz related.
Somehow
Sometime.
jazz related.
I would if I because I've thought about this.
He's
I
going to
would
say 2000s.
I would know.
Third Eye Blind time. That's his jam.
That actually was my. I was there, man. I was there. But
Lived it.
yeah.
It was all right.
No, I would say, but the time between the wars in like Europe was a really wonderful, not wonderful, actually terrible, but like
So
interesting.
The 30s?
Yeah, kind of the 30s,
Fuck
man, like
yeah.
20s, 30s, like when Hemingway was there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that would have been so fun.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the writing part of it.
Yeah.
I just thought
Aw.
about music.
No, I mean I would have been playing jazz too, for sure.
Yeah. Jazz and Hemingway. What more can you want?
He would have died of opium immediately.
Yeah, no kidding. like,
thought
I'm
about-
getting really into this.
I've thought about like if I were going to be in America in the like post Beatlemania like boom when everybody started forming bands, but yet
okay.
all the musicians sucked. Think about the level of skills that we have
True.
compared to all the bands that were around then. I mean, it's just an evolution.
Dude, I think about that a
Right?
lot. Like how Jimi Hendrix, who's okay, he's great. Like I'm not gonna.
But
say
for
that.
his
But,
time.
yeah, for his time. Like everybody took him and what Jimmy Page did and stuff. And now like guys like that are a dime a dozen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But for their
Like,
time, they were
For
revolutionary.
sure. Like
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
could go back knowing what you know now
Oh God,
to
we
like
would
the
be
early
like,
'70s, it'd be like you'd be a god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, still compared to like West Montgomery,
Yeah.
we'd suck still,
Right.
you know. But
yeah.
but compared to
And the exposure they got because there was nobody else like that at the time made them legendary. So
Yeah.
that, now
Yeah.
it's like that's your go-to.
yeah, that's mine. Sorry, I'm piggybacking on
No,
that.
that's cool.
No,
That's a
good.
fun answer.
All right. If everyone had to listen to Michael all day, what would he be talking about?
What is happening right now? Am I being attacked? I feel
She's
I'm being
like, I want to know
attacked.
your answer because I know the answer.
Yeah. He'd be talking about cutting up his food into all the same consistency. He would be talking about how much he loves Dirty Loops or something.
What is it?
No.
He would be talking about.
Does Michael love Dirty Loops?
He did. I mean, I think maybe it's waned a
5 minutes.
bit.
Okay.
All right, this is
He
where
would talk
we break
about
up as a band.
He would talk about Ashley and Jack a lot, probably.
Yeah. That,
Yeah, he would talk about his other band and Lenny Kravitz. I mean, we do talk all day.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know this answer.
Yeah.
But I would say again, because Ashley is asking this question, and she doesn't understand that. Yeah, he would be talking about you and Jack. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's one thing, and this is an object, so not a person, but what's one thing Andrew couldn't live without?
Don't say cocaine. Don't say cocaine. Don't say cocaine.
It's definitely cocaine. No,
Just kidding.
I think music is the obvious answer. This dude just lives and breathes the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even need to answer. I feel like
No. But there are other things. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Is it the banana hand?
Yeah, the banana hand.
We don't talk about
which is
Honestly-
currently down his pants.
that's what you think.
You have to go to a live show to understand the
Right,
banana
yeah,
hand.
that's
That's all I could say.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're not even just the creation of music. You're just music, like live music, seeing performances, like
Yeah.
just the celebration that is music.
Dude, Priest and I are going to go see some classical music here in Charlotte. We should all go.
Are you going to the symphony?
Yeah.
What is there a show in particular?
No, it's just that
Sponsored
we
by
both
Symphony
talked about how much we
Charlotte.
loved it. So anyway, we're going to go. Well, I don't have any idea what show we're going to go to, but it's a near-term
There
goal.
is a Beatles one coming up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Put it down.
So
We could
I
all
will
maybe-
say,
we could look into
Michael
that.
mentioned the banana hand. I will say I couldn't live without bananas. I love bananas. I
I
eat way
am
too many of
finding
them.
about this right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're amazing. They prevent cramps. It's great food for running. I did like 7 miles
So
today.
specific.
Yeah. But I love bananas. I freeze them if they start to go mad. Frozen bananas is my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
Close second is non-frozen bananas. I love bananas.
What do you think about
I-
dried bananas?
I am pretty sure we
Not
just
a
made
fan.
a banana.
Not a fan of dried bananas.
Not a
because
fan of banana
I like
chips.
dried bananas, but
And
I
now
don't like anything
we,
else.
We have to cut this from the podcast.
No, we leave that. That was
because
gold.
now everyone is gonna
He
be
was like Bubba on
Just-
Forrest Gump. He's like fried bananas, frozen bananas.
I mean, it's
Sausage,
not really.
potatoes,
It's
bananas all
any
rotten.
dick-shaped food. Any dick-shaped food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like super bad over here.
So music and bananas.
In
we
music
got it.
bananas. Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay, this is for all of you,
okay.
and I want you to each order and each answer in order, and then you can kind of check notes, see if you thought of that
Okay.
answer. So, what do you do when you're excited about a song? What's your reaction
Like a song we wrote, or like a song like out in the world, like
that you guys wrote?
okay. So what? How do we answer this?
Just you could.
Now,
in
does
order.
this is like at the process of finishing, like at the end, or is it during?
Or like I just wrote a song like that.
It could be
excitement?
like any point in the song process, during, when you're practicing, you're just excited about it. What do you do?
What are you thinking right now?
Michael, you have a thought. Go
Yeah.
for it.
What do you think Tom does?
I don't think he does anything, but I used to joke around in a previous band. And I'm like, guys, I'm feeling it in my dick. As a joke,
Right.
it's an interesting question because it's like, I don't know that you do anything, but I don't know. Like for me, I guess, if we stop, I'll be like, yeah, that was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a moment of clarity. And it's just acknowledgement of the moment.
yeah. So
So maybe not as fun. Like I don't throw a sombrero in the sky.
You should. I want this.
I don't have room in my gig bag for a sombrero. But
Start shooting your 6-shooters. in the air.
we're cutting this from the podcast. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, and then sometimes I don't know. Like you might just internalize it and like I'm gonna hold on to this moment. That
Yeah.
was like dope. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I'm okay. Okay, yeah. So I'm more like, I get excited. I'm like, well, what if we go to like an F sharp minor right now, and I just kind of get nerdy.
You geek
Yeah,
out
I
over
geek
it.
out
Yeah.
for sure.
I would say that for me, if it's a recording that's done, I just listen to it obsessively.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and like I think that I probably when it's something's like nearing completion and I'm proud of it, I'm happy about it. I'm probably listen to it like for 3 days straight, just nothing else. The only thing I listen to for like 3 days, and then I obsess over mixing decisions, and I'm like, all right, this should come up, or like arrangement things. I'll try things out, but I'm just so excited. I listen to it over and over, and I feel I have a sense of accomplishment because I feel like all of us are on this trajectory of our ability as musicians and writers, and if I've written something really good, it's like better than anything I've done, and that's happened with this band. Where I feel like there are a lot of things that we've done that are like the best things that I've been a part of ever, and that is like satisfying. And if something's not, then I'm not going to be excited about it.
Yeah.
Like, and every song's different. Songs are creative. You can't rank and say this is better or worse, but it's like it has to excite me in a way that I've never been excited about something before, and that's a hard bar to clear. But it's happened on this album, you know. But I'd say in those moments of live inspiration, I will just fucking scream out in joy. Like you guys hear me? Yeah, I got a high pitched voice when I want to, and you'll hear me like fucking shatter some glass when the song's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
Cool.
And that right there is just like you guys coming together, and
Yeah.
the chemistry of the band is just exactly it. Like it's rooted in friendship, and that's why you guys. I think you see it throughout.
Yeah, we're good pals.
Yeah,
It's nice.
you know? It's
It's
good.
nice.
So that's a good segue into the
Yeah.
song "Colorblind," and you know when you hear this, to me it's like such an optimistic sounding song, and even the lyrics. So what was stone now has turned to clay. Don't let it dry.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's almost like a song of hope in my mind.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to put pen to paper?
So that line in particular is really about, growing old, but not growing old. Growing old in age and growing in wisdom, but not growing stale, not getting stuck in your patterns, and still being open to creativity and joy. But I would say that overall, this song, as with most things, it didn't start with lyrics. I often start with music first, and but we can talk about that music process. But I think you asked a question about lyrics, so I'd say that overall, this song is inspired by, for me personally, about psychedelics, and I think that this song is kind of the good trip, and then there's another song on the album that's the bad trip.
Which one's that?
That is Ties That Bind. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah,
And
me
too.
I just have to
Wow.
point out that on the way here, she's like, I think this song's about drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
Did not.
It is.
I did not put that together.
So
Me
there have
either.
been
I
lots
was like,
of...
is it about racism?
No.
I didn't know.
No.
I don't see color.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how.
Well, it is about that as well, but it is the title is more about be opening and being aware of what's around you and not taking it for granted.
Yeah.
But I would say that for me personally, and I think that the song has multiple meanings, but for me, there are moments in your life where you see something in a new way for the first time. And that's what this song is about. It's about those moments of clarity and trying to hold on to them and changing your life. And for me, I've had multiple moments in my life where, they have been inspired by psychedelics or, MDMA, psilocybin, these kind of things. But there was a moment in my life when I was a kid. I lived a life. I was in high school and I had some friends who were starting to get into harder drugs and were stealing and doing lots of bad shit. I have lots of friends who are not around anymore, and I was hanging out with them. And at one point, I was in high school and we did MDMA together, and I kind of had this very clear heart to heart with friends where I had this realization. I was like, I love you, but we can't be friends anymore. My life has to go in a different direction from the direction you guys are going in. And it was when music was starting to enter my life. And I was starting to make all these good friends who had their lives kind of together, and we're going to be going to college, and we're going to have good futures, and we're going to have good jobs. And these guys were heading towards death or prison. And it was tough. So this song is about that first moment, but also about several in my life where I've had these key like decision points where I've had very positive life changes that in this example and several in my life were spurred on by, sometimes drugs, but sometimes, art, sometimes, and I say art in different forms. Sometimes a painting can do this. Sometimes a book can do this. Sometimes music can do this, where your life is different afterwards. And that's what this is about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Nice.
so that's like a follow-up question there
Yeah.
because it reminds me of like one of my favorite definitions of classic literature.
Yeah.
It's like that's you evolve, but as you read the same book, your perspective changes because you're always evolving, you're always growing.
Right.
So that was what Colorblind meant to you when you wrote it. What does it mean to you today?
Today, I mean, again, I think there are multiple interpretations. So again, it's really like you were asking, is this about race? And part of the lyrics are kind of about that. Even the
That'd
title
be
is
like
about
the
that.
on the nose
Right.
interpretation.
That would be on the
you
on the
know?
nose interpretation. But really, it is kind of about the perspective that was really present in the 90s, where the way that we viewed race was like, oh yeah, that was something that we got past. This is a problem that we were learning about it in school was, oh yeah, well, this was a problem, and then the Martin Luther King and Voting Rights Act, and now race is not a problem anymore. And really, it was just us ignoring it. And I think that's what the perspective of being colorblind was used. Like, oh, I don't see color, I'm colorblind. It's like, well, no, race is important in everything in life, and you have to be aware of it. You can't ignore it. You can't bury it. So that would be the on-the-nose interpretation. And that's there, too. That's something that I was kind of thinking about as well. Because, I mean, I love my parents, but that is something that I think that they maybe still feel. I think the older generation still feels is that, oh, if we ignore it, it's not a problem. And that's not really true. You have to be aware of the history in order to transcend it. So, yeah, but even for me, though, I'm, a white guy in my 30s. I'm not the one to speak on race relations. This really, for me, was a more personal song, but I think there are, like, multiple interpretations.
Yeah.
But for me, what it means to me right now, today, is, like, this is I would love for people who see our shows to have, I aspire to give somebody that moment of clarity, you know? And I don't think this song, like, I think it's a great song, but I aspire to write that song that does that for people. And maybe this does it, maybe the next song does it, but maybe our shows do it, maybe this podcast does it, who knows?
Yeah,
But
and that's the thing. It's like they can connect with you guys in multiple ways, and
So we're trying,
just interpret.
Just
in
being
different ways.
artists, doing our thing.
Exactly. So, you were telling me a little bit about the process of, the writing process in general, whereas you guys kind of riff on the lyrics, the actual root of the song, and then you will come in later with the drums. So how do you come in on that process, knowing what the tone is? Like, what direction are you given? Or are you just starting from zero?
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, if this is the right song,
Yeah.
I think this was kind of created almost like you guys were in your little bubble for like a week or so.
There were a few different versions.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
We tried to do it like acoustic, like there was like a Latin attempt or something.
Oh,
There were different arrangements.
I'll tell you. So the first version of this song was like a New Order, Joy Division, like Peter Hook bass line type thing that I'd written. And maybe I say that those are more obscure bands, but it was more like The Cure than anything else. And it would have fit with
I know what you mean. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
it
was
more
very
would fit with
Cure.
my old band, The Animal Beat, which I love. Hey, Travis, Jeff, if you're watching, I love you dudes. And I'd written the song that would have been appropriate for them, but it was like, I brought it to you guys, and there wasn't excitement because it was like, this isn't us, you know? And I totally got that. I was like, yeah, this isn't us. You're right. You know, even if it's instrumentally good so far, it's not there. And so I was like, all right, we need to work on this. So we partied really hard one night, like way too hard. And
I don't remember that, so we must have.
I do not either.
Yeah.
There's a recording out there, and it is terrible.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes,
exactly.
Like
So
it had no sense of rhythm or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was like 2 a.m. and we were recording live acoustic.
I was not here.
You were
there.
here.
We remember.
You played
'cause
djembe.
I remember just playing guitar and just being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no fucking clue what's going on. And then we listen the next day, and I'm just like, my rhythm's like all over the place.
Yeah,
Like,
and you guys were like, "Oh, this is terrible."
yeah, it was.
But honestly, that was the genesis of what the song became. I was like, "Oh, I finally hear it." Like in that terrible late night, had a few too many performance. It was like, "Oh, this is the seed of what the new arrangement is." And so I took that performance and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get some drum loops. I'm gonna layer all these things together, and then I sent it to these you guys, and you were like, "What? You got that out of our late night jam session?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. So you hear this, you hear the drum loop, and what is your interpretation?
I remember we came in, so I think it was just Andrew and I, and he's like, let me play you this song. And I think you sent it to me before, and I listened to it. Mm-hmm. And then it was just like, okay, let me come in there and just play and see what comes out of me. Mm-hmm. And even till to this day, I remember I was listening to the song and I was like, oh, that's a dope drum pattern, Andrew. Thanks for putting that together. And he's like, no, that was all you. But I don't even remember. It was a Sunday morning-ish, 11 a.m. And I was just here for a couple hours, and we just knocked it out. And that pattern and that double kick to the flow of the song. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just kind of pulls you through. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not. I would say it's not an intentional thing. It's you come in. How do you feel? What's the feel of the song? And then Andrew sometimes will give me a nice direction. Yeah. It's like I hear what you're doing. If you can add some whatever. Yeah. The word is escaping me at this moment, but. Mm-hmm.
Accoutrement?
That word never.
Mikey sauce.
Or just some flair is the wrong word, but just something on a part, and it really does pull. I mean, hearkening back to another song we've discussed, it's Bezos. We slightly shifted or adjusted the feel of the drums for that song to just really be almost purposeful. Yeah. As opposed to and real quick, it's just a lot of what I do is just what I feel in the moment. Yeah. But a lot of it should be, and especially for a song like this, which you so articulately explained, purpose driven. There's a purpose. We're trying to achieve something with the song. Mm. And so I remember Bezos, one of our other songs, and then this one. Yeah. We got to almost what the purpose of it was or the feel should have been. Right. As opposed to, some of the other cool stuff we do that's just we just go ham.
I mean, there are lots of songs that have good grooves, but I would say Bezos and this song, the drum and bass come together really well and be, in a way, they become the same instrument. It's I'm the melodic part of the drums, I'm hitting the note, but we're locked in, and it becomes the same instrument,
Yeah, and he sings and plays bass on stage on this one, and that's hard to do.
Hard as shit.
Because it's a nice solid groove. Yeah. And I think about this the way the brain operates when you're doing something very rhythmic, and then something very arrhythmic like melodies. It's a direct conflict. Yeah. And it's really you have to split yourself in two in a sense, and I mean, I'm talking for you in a sense. But you really have to okay, there's this part of me that's dedicated to a groove. And then there's this part of me that's floating above it with this melody,
And
that's
there are ways
tough.
of getting around it. If you listen to the initial verse melody, it's the vocal melody is very straight, whereas the bass is very syncopated. And then that flips later in the song, where the vocals are very syncopated and the bass is very straight. So it's you have to figure out which one's going to be adding the spice at any point in the song.
Yeah. I feel like that's like the musical version of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach.
Exactly.
Really is,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
'Cause
Yeah.
I used to play bass
For
and
the
sing,
layman.
too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
something you can wrap
Tommy's
your
a
head
sick
around.
bassist. Yeah. Yeah. Nah, he's
Yeah.
good.
But this tune I think is one of the more potentially popular ones as well. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
I was gonna say it has like a little bit of like a Toto, Phil Collins, and you said The
Yeah.
Cure. I can see
Yeah.
The Cure. What influence?
I would say initially the inspiration for the arrangement was George Michael, which is
Okay.
Freedom 90. Yeah, I was feeling that song a lot. And the initial drum loop that I used had some like Latin percussion and stuff in it. Kind of like
that's
that
what
song.
we were going to Latin, trying to go to Latin.
Yeah,
directions
exactly.
at one
Yeah.
point.
And I was going to ask, like, do you ever just start with, like, oh, I really want to make a song that's like George Michael Freedom? Like, do you start there, or is it more
Yeah,
subconscious
I mean,
influence?
You do, and again, I think that there's like as a musician, you have to study and like learn how to emulate your heroes. And sometimes you are like, all right, let me get it perfectly, and then sometimes you fail, and sometimes you do get it perfectly, and like. And I think that when you hit your limitation, sometimes you create something new. Like the Rolling Stones could not be Howlin' Wolf, but because they couldn't be Howlin' Wolf, they were the Rolling Stones. You know, and I think that's for me. Like I couldn't be George Michael. I'm not George Michael as a singer. And I'll also say part of the song, like when I came with the initial Cure arrangement, it was like not what we were going to do as a band, but it was something that I had written. And I was like, let me make this something that these guys would love and it sounds like what we want to sound like. So really, I'd say Michael, like I wrote the song for Michael. And even the vocals, I was like, because I still like, Michael is probably the most natural gifted singer in the band. Like, I feel like Tom and I have to work really hard to get to where Michael just is.
I should work really hard, but I don't.
But this song initially I was like, oh, I'm gonna write this for Michael to sing, and that's even when I was writing the vocal parts. I was like, there's certain parts where I was like, because Michael has some fucking soul, and he's got more melisma, the ability to navigate between notes, which I don't really have. And I was like, let me try and do some of that, get out of my comfort zone, do that in the song. Maybe I'll hand this to Michael, and he'll just murder it. And then every time I've ever tried to do that to Michael, he's like, "No, man, it's your song. You sing it every time." But this was like I tried to write it.
Don't
for him.
remember you ever asking.
I did.
Oh,
I mean, hey, offer's still on the
because
table.
The way Michael is like, fuck off.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not doing that.
yeah. No, man. I mean, I still think that could be in the cards. I think Michael, in the future, I want to have Michael on record doing a lead vocal, but he's got a killer voice, and especially the two of these guys have the best vocal blend. And I was reading all about David Crosby today, and all about like the vocal blends that he was able to get with Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and how people have been with better singers and other things, but like there's something magic about a blend, and even with two great singers, you don't always get a good blend. These guys blend.
Well, and you all do, right? You have like 3-part harmonies. Was that just kind of a natural evolution, or did you guys?
I will say this.
Yeah.
So in this specific song, Andrew's the lead, and there's not a lot of harmonies in this one.
There's
a
harmonies.
couple.
I don't sing a single
Yeah,
note.
there's
in
like
this
one
song.
or two, and you even have some harmonies that I noticed listening to the recording like recently.
Yeah.
That I don't even sing that we should definitely incorporate. But I think when you're with someone or with like certain people for so long, and I've been playing with you, Tommy, for like 5 years, which I mean I guess in all reality it's not that long, but it's
That's
just
long enough.
And we've right. But I've had conversations where at this point it's like I don't even have to think about it. I just know like where you're going to be, where you're going. And then Andrew has such a good talent for finding a note. Like how do I fit in this space that exists so cohesively? And like I can't think of the songs right now off the top of my head, but you'll just like come in over the top or come in just underneath. And it's just like this perfect amount of you're not taking away from anything. You're just adding a little bit. Like so it's totally selfless in those moments, whereas like sometimes we just want to ham it up. Andrew's like, let me just add a little bit of subtlety,
Yeah.
texture, whatever. And I think we're just very fortunate in that respect.
Aw.
That we do mesh together very, very well, whether that be in the bedroom or on the stage.
Yeah.
That is the perfect,
We need to-
perfect way to end it.
I think the album cover for the next album is going to be us in like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like old person bed. Just
Oh, yeah,
we
okay.
contemplated that album cover before.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Grandpa
Well,
Joe.
You heard it here. The Colorblind from these great group of guys, best friends. And you can get it on Spotify, Apple Music,
Amazon,
YouTube.
everywhere.
yeah.
So download it today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Love you guys.